Can I be honest with you for a second? I know what it feels like to be overlooked, underestimated, or like no matter how much effort you put in, you're never really seen the way you deserve. Maybe you've been the guy who texts, calls, shows up, plans things, only to feel like she's distant, distracted, or just not as invested as you are. And maybe, deep down, you start questioning yourself. Am I not enough? Am I doing something wrong? Or does she just not care? Here's the truth. Most men don't realize. Attraction isn't a direct reward for effort. It's not about how much you chase, how much you prove yourself, or how available you make yourself. It's about presence and absence, value and emotional tension, things that go beyond simple logic. And here's something even more controversial. The very thing most men fear, stepping back, pulling away, creating space, is often the most powerful thing you can do to spark desire. Think about it. When you're constantly there, always responsive, always giving, what does she really see? She sees predictability, familiarity, someone who's always available. And humans, wired emotionally as we are, often take what's predictable for granted. Desire doesn't flourish under constant availability. It grows in mystery, respect, and the subtle pull of what isn't guaranteed. Let me tell you a story. I know a man, smart, caring, solid, who was in a relationship with a woman he adored. He did everything right, listening, helping, showing affection, but she was distant, unresponsive, almost bored. It hurt him, frustrated him, made him feel invisible. Then one day, he decided to stop overextending himself. He focused on his work, his hobbies, his friends. He literally stepped back. And the shift was instantaneous. She started noticing him in ways she hadn't before. She initiated conversations, sought time with him, even flirted playfully. Nothing he did had changed. Only his approach, his presence, his boundaries. Psychologically, this is fascinating. When a man steps away, he doesn't just create absence, he creates space for her to feel, reflect, and reassess her own desire. She begins to notice what she was taking for granted, what energy she truly values. And yes, she starts to feel pulled toward him emotionally, not because of games, but because he's signaling self-respect, independence, and subtle confidence. And here's where it gets tricky. Most men misread this. They panic, thinking, if I step back, I'll lose her forever. But the irony is, overinvestment often pushes desire away faster than distance ever could. Pulling back doesn't make you weak. It makes you magnetic. It flips the dynamic. And once you understand this, you stop chasing validation and start creating emotional tension that feels natural, not forced. By the end of this video, you're going to see exactly what a woman feels when you walk away, the emotional triggers, the subtle shifts in attention, and why absence, when handled with calm confidence, often becomes irresistible. I'm not talking about manipulation. I'm talking about awareness, psychology, and real-life dynamics that most men completely overlook. So, here's the first question I want you to hold on to. If the very thing you fear, stepping back, letting space exist, can actually increase desire, what does that say about how attraction really works? And how can you use this understanding to move from feeling frustrated and overlooked to feeling respected, desired, and in control of your emotional world? By the time we finish, you're not just going to understand this on a surface level. You're going to feel it, see it, and be able to use it in a way that's authentic, grounded, and undeniably effective. 1. The shift in attention. Why absence triggers desire. Have you ever felt like no matter what you do, she just isn't noticing you the way you want her to? You text, you plan, you show up, and still, it feels like she's distant, distracted, or half invested. And in those moments, it's easy to panic, to think, am I not enough? Maybe I'm doing something wrong? But here's the thing. Most men don't realize. Desire doesn't thrive on availability. It thrives on perception, value, and space. Let's imagine a scenario. You've been texting a woman consistently for weeks. You make the effort, you're present, maybe even going out of your way to be thoughtful. And yet, she seems distant. She responds slowly, she doesn't initiate, and her energy feels lukewarm. You try harder. You send more messages, plan more meetups, overextend in subtle ways to show her you care, but nothing changes. Frustrating, right? Now imagine this. One day, you simply step back. You stop overextending. You focus on your life, your goals, your friends, your own growth. You don't act differently toward her. You just pull back. And suddenly, everything changes. She notices you more. She texts first. She's playful, attentive, even slightly curious. The energy shifts, but here's the kicker. You didn't do anything. You simply created space. Why does this work? It's the psychology of absence. When someone is always present, they become familiar, predictable, almost invisible in a subtle way. Our brains are wired to notice what isn't guaranteed. Desire needs tension. It needs intrigue. And by stepping back, you're giving her the opportunity to reflect on her own feelings, to process her emotions, and to notice the value you've been showing all along. Here's an important nuance. Walking away isn't about playing games or testing her. It's about calm confidence. When you overextend, you unconsciously signal that your energy, attention, and life revolve entirely around her. That might feel caring on the surface, but it diminishes attraction. When you pull back, you signal that your life is full, meaningful, and independent, and that magnetic energy is incredibly compelling. Think about it from her perspective. She begins to notice what she was taking for granted: your time, your presence, your energy. She asks herself questions she wasn't asking before. Why isn't he always here? Why does that make me feel this pull? That internal reflection triggers desire in a way chasing never could. So what's the key mindset shift here? Stop believing that being constantly available equals being loved or wanted. Walking away, calmly and respectfully, is not losing her. It's claiming your own value. It's letting attraction develop naturally from her side, not forced by your effort. And the beauty of this is that it creates emotional tension without manipulation. It's subtle, grounded, and profoundly effective. Here's the cliffhanger I want you to sit with. If absence can trigger attention and desire, what is she really feeling inside when you create that space? And how does that emotional reaction shape the way she sees you moving forward? That's exactly what we're diving into next. The subtle emotional world she navigates when you step back without a single word. 2. The emotional mirror. What she really feels when you detach. Have you ever wondered why the moment you step back, she suddenly seems more present, more attentive, like she's thinking about you in ways she wasn't before? It's not coincidence. It's not luck. It's psychology. And it's one of the most overlooked truths about attraction. Let me paint a picture. Imagine you've been texting her consistently, always showing up, always making the effort, and she's kind, friendly, even warm, but she's never leaning in fully. Then one day, you pull back. Maybe you don't reply immediately. Maybe you focus on your own life. Maybe you let her space you out a little, and suddenly she's initiating. She's curious. She's checking in, even in subtle ways. She's reacting differently, emotionally, mentally, even physically. Why does this happen? When you detach, even slightly, you hold up a mirror to her emotions. She starts reflecting on her own feelings, her own priorities, and her own desire. In that reflection, she notices things she may have been taking for granted: your consistency, your attention, your presence. Her brain, wired to respond to emotional energy, begins to process a truth she may have been ignoring. He's not always here. He's not just mine to pull at whenever he's available. I actually miss him. This is where subtle psychological tension comes in. Attraction isn't just about physical chemistry. It's about emotional contrast. The contrast between your presence and absence creates a pull, like a magnet being lightly tugged away, only to draw closer again. She feels the shift without you having to say anything. Her mind starts spinning, asking herself questions she never asked when you were constantly there. Why isn't he always available? Why do I suddenly care more about his attention? Here's the nuance most men never see. Women are not reacting to absence as punishment. They're reacting to clarity and reflection. Your detachment forces her to notice value, presence, and energy she may have subconsciously overlooked. And here's the subtle beauty. You don't need to overthink her response. Your calm, confident withdrawal speaks volumes more than any words could. Now let's be honest with ourselves. Many men panic here. They think, if I step back, she'll stop caring, she'll move on. But the reality is almost always the opposite. Constant availability often dulls desire. It makes you predictable, safe, and ultimately less magnetic. Emotional tension, the kind that sparks attraction, requires a dance of presence and space detachment, done with respect and self-respect, creates that tension naturally. So, stop chasing validation through constant attention. Let her emotions catch up with the reality of your value. Give her room to feel, reflect, and realize that your energy isn't infinite, that it's reserved for someone who recognizes it. This isn't manipulation. It's awareness. It's understanding human psychology and the way desire grows, subtly, internally, and powerfully. 3. The wake-up call. Why she notices what she took for granted. Let's be honest for a moment. How many times have you overextended yourself only to feel invisible or underappreciated? You've shown effort, consistency, attention, even affection. And yet, she hasn't fully leaned in, and somewhere deep down, it hurts, it frustrates you. You start wondering why she doesn't get it, why she doesn't notice the value you bring. Here's the reality most men avoid. Sometimes she hasn't noticed simply because you've made yourself too available, and this isn't a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of human psychology. When something is always there, it becomes background noise. Familiarity dulls attention. Effort, when constant, can blur into expectation. Let me tell you a story. A man I know was dating a woman who never fully appreciated his effort. He was kind, generous, emotionally present, and yet she often seemed distracted or distant. He tried harder, more texts, more gestures, more availability, and still nothing changed. Until one day he stepped back, not in anger, not in spite. Just calmly, confidently, he focused on his own life. And then something fascinating happened. She began noticing everything he had been offering all along, the little gestures, the patience, the consistency. Suddenly, she realized she had been taking him for granted, and that realization sparked a new kind of respect, attention, and yes, desire. Psychologically, this is the wake-up call in action. When a man pulls back, he's not punishing her. He's creating space for awareness. She has the opportunity to reflect on what she's been overlooking, what she's undervaluing, and how her actions, or inaction, affect the dynamic between you. The absence highlights the presence you've always had. It reveals your value in ways that constant availability never could. Here's a subtle but crucial point for men. This moment is also a mirror for your own behavior. Overinvestment often signals insecurity, neediness, or fear of loss, even if you don't realize it. And women intuitively tuned to emotional energy pick up on this walking away, calmly and respectfully, communicates confidence, self-respect, and independence, qualities that are inherently attractive. This isn't manipulation, it's awareness. It's understanding that attraction isn't just about effort, it's about balance. It's about giving her the emotional space to see you clearly, to feel your value, and to realize that your attention is something that isn't limitless. It's reserved for someone who truly notices and respects it. So here's the mindset shift. Stop confusing constant availability with genuine connection. Step back. Respect yourself enough to let your energy breathe. Let her notice what she's been overlooking. Because when she does, the dynamic changes. You're no longer chasing. You're no longer undervalued. You've become the standard she has to meet, not the other way around. 4. The power of mystery. How walking away reframes attraction. Have you ever noticed how the things you can't fully grasp feel more magnetic than the things you already have? It's a subtle, almost invisible part of human psychology, the allure of mystery. And when it comes to attraction, mystery isn't about secrets or manipulation. It's about presence and absence, energy and space, attention and restraint. Think about a scenario. You've been texting, calling, maybe even planning your weekends around her. You've been available. She's nice, friendly, sometimes flirty, but there's a certain spark missing. That tension that makes her really lean in. Then, one day, you start stepping back. You don't disappear. You don't ghost. You just focus on your own life, your own growth, your own happiness. You're still kind, still engaging when you connect, but your energy isn't always hers to consume. And suddenly, something shifts. She notices. She starts wondering, what's he up to? Why isn't he always here? That curiosity, that subtle questioning, is what psychologists call the intrigue factor. Mystery engages the mind. When you are not fully predictable, when your life exists outside of her sphere, she begins to invest emotionally, imagining, reflecting, even longing, without you having to say a single word. Here's the truth most men overlook. Attraction is as much about what you don't do as what you do. Being too available too soon creates familiarity, and familiarity often dulls desire. Walking away or creating subtle space doesn't push her away. It frames you as independent, self-respecting, and multidimensional. It gives her a reason to think about you, to reflect on what she truly wants, and to feel the pull that absence naturally generates. Let's make it real. Imagine a man who's always available, always answers texts, always agrees to plans, always there emotionally. Now imagine he steps back. He doesn't chase. He doesn't over-explain. He simply exists in his own world, full of purpose and passion. That small act creates tension. Not conflict, not drama, just an invisible pull. She begins to notice his value, the depth he brings, and even the way her own emotions respond to his absence. Mystery, in this sense, is not deception. It's intelligent self-restraint. This is where many men falter. They confuse withdrawal with weakness, or they think mystery requires playing games. In reality, the power of mystery comes from living your life fully while maintaining calm confidence. It's about demonstrating through action, not words, that your energy is precious, your time is valuable, and your presence is something worth earning. The mindset shift here is subtle but profound. Attraction isn't a direct result of chasing, pleasing, or performing. It's a result of creating a life that exists independently of her attention, while still being emotionally available in a controlled, confident way. That balance creates tension, curiosity, and desire naturally. 5. The return of balance. When she realizes she needs you. Have you ever walked away from someone only to notice that suddenly their attention and energy shift toward you? Maybe she starts checking in more often. Maybe she laughs at your jokes more genuinely. Or maybe she makes time for you she hadn't before. That shift isn't coincidence. It's the natural return of balance, and it's deeply rooted in human psychology. Here's the scenario. You've pulled back. You've created space. You've focused on your own life, your own goals, and your own emotional stability. You haven't manipulated, pressured, or chased. You've simply lived with calm confidence. And what happens? She starts noticing the subtle patterns she may have ignored. The consistency you always offered. The thoughtfulness she may have taken for granted. And the energy you bring into her life. She begins to weigh her own feelings, her priorities, and even her past behavior toward you. Psychologically, this is the stage where clarity emerges. When you're constantly available, she might unconsciously take your presence for granted. Your attention becomes expected, not valued. But your absence flips the dynamic. It creates a mirror for her emotions, a moment of reflection, and a realization that your energy is not infinite. It's something worth appreciating and prioritizing. Let's make this real. Imagine a man who's been subtly undervalued in a relationship. He's kind, consistent, and reliable, but she's distracted by other things, life, friends, even her own uncertainties. He steps back, lives fully in his own life, and doesn't chase her attention. A week passes. She reaches out first. She suggests meeting. She laughs, flirts, and engages more deeply. That simple shift isn't about magic or manipulation. It's the result of her recognizing balance and realizing that she wants to be a part of the energy you bring into her world. Here's the crucial insight. This stage isn't about winning, it's about alignment. When she begins to prioritize you, it's because she's evaluated her own feelings honestly. Without your constant presence skewing her perception, you've created the conditions for her to recognize her own desire and her own values rather than forcing them through effort or over-availability. Now, let's talk mindset. This stage requires patience and self-respect. You've done the work of stepping back, of creating emotional space, and of respecting your own value. The reward isn't just her attention. It's a balanced, mutual attraction that's sustainable, grounded, and authentic. She notices you because you've allowed her the opportunity to notice, not because you chased it. And here's where it gets subtle but powerful. This dynamic doesn't just apply to relationships. It applies to any situation where your value is being recognized, whether in friendships, professional settings, or social dynamics. Learning when to step back, when to create space, and when to maintain your energy is one of the most underrated keys to influence, respect, and attraction. So here's the question to leave with. If stepping back, embracing mystery, and creating space naturally leads her to value and prioritize you, how much of your time and energy are you currently giving away to people who haven't fully recognized it? And more importantly, how much more magnetic could you become when you master the balance between presence and absence? The truth is, attraction is less about chasing and more about being a man who knows his worth, respects his boundaries, and allows desire to grow naturally. When you do that, everything, attention, respect, desire, returns to balance. The harder you chase, the faster desire fades. Attraction isn't a reward for effort. It's a reflection of value, presence, and emotional balance. When you step back, create space, and respect your own energy, something remarkable happens. She notices what she took for granted. Her curiosity sparks, and desire naturally grows. I want you to remember this deeply. Walking away isn't about losing her. It's about claiming your own worth. It's about giving her the chance to reflect on her feelings, prioritize you, and engage on equal footing. When you understand this, you stop overextending, stop chasing validation, and start creating magnetic, sustainable attraction without manipulation or drama. And here's my personal message to you. You don't need to overwork yourself to be wanted. You don't need to be constantly available to be seen. Your value is inherent, and when you operate from calm confidence, independence, and self-respect, attraction aligns naturally. I want to hear from you. How have you experienced desire, attention, or curiosity shift when you created space or focused on your own life? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's break the cycle of confusion and learn from each other. Remember this: desire grows in space, value shows in reflection, and respect thrives when boundaries are honored. Walk away confidently, not to punish, but to allow attraction and clarity to emerge on its own terms.